This is Jamie Drummond for Good Food Revolution. I'm very happy to be joined today by none other than Baptiste Gazeau, who is joining me all the way from Limoux in Languedoc, France. How are you today, sir?
I'm very good, very happy to be with you today.
Excellent. I'm glad we finally managed to get together. We're going to be speaking about your family's house, Antech, which I believe Antech are the largest Limoux producer in Limoux. And you only have about 20 producers in Limoux or something like that, right?
Yeah, that's exactly that. So we are actually the second largest after the local cooperative winery.
I see.
And yes, only 24 wineries in Limoux focusing on making beautiful sparkling wines. So that's quite a small appellation if you compare to most of the Champagne, Prosecco, or other region, but small but beautiful.
Now, I know the region quite well. I'm usually, in pre-COVID times, I'm normally in Languedoc for the media tasting every single year. So I've been to Limoux a number of times. I've been to your facility, and I've actually been to the co-op as well. So I should have remembered that. But however, so for those people unfamiliar with the wines of Limoux, and more specifically, the wines of Antech, would you mind giving them a quick compressed 101?
So Limoux, to me, two very important points to understand what makes Limoux such a unique place is first, the history of Limoux, that is unique for being the cradle of sparkling wines. If you go back 5 centuries ago, we were very lucky in Limoux to have some monks in a small Benedictine abbey who were actually more interested in singing, eating well, and I think partying a little bit. They were very funny monks. And the monk who was in charge of making the wine for the community actually bottled it too early. So then the fermentation has not been to the end. And then there was residual sugar. And in the springtime, when the temperature goes up, the fermentation started again in the glass bottle. And actually, when they reopened the bottle, there was the pop of the cork. And I think at the first time, they did not really understand what was happening, just the wine was weird. But they basically discovered and made the world's first sparkling wine in Limoux. And they had the good idea to write it in the register of the abbey, making Limoux able to claim being the cradle of sparkling wines.
Which kind of stymies the marketing of champagne, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's really the difference between Limoux being only less than 1,000 hectares, Champagne being 30,000 hectares. So we are small, we are less, I think, involved in marketing, but that's these monks who discovered sparkling wine, that was 120 years before Dom Pérignon. So that tells you how old we are and how proud we are of that.
Oh, that was one of your own wines?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, wow.
Exactly.
Okay. And did you open it?
No, that was not our wine.
Sorry.
But my family actually made research about my genealogy. And actually, on my mother's side, everyone is from Limoux for like 8 centuries. So I see. I don't know if my ancestors were part of this creation, but in my heart, I hope so.
Now, you have a very particular grape variety down there, don't you? Which takes part in almost all of the wines that you make down there.
Yeah, exactly. So the other very interesting thing of Limoux is its terroir, at the combination between the Pyrenees bringing freshness and altitude to the vineyard, and also the Mediterranean climate, quite warm and gentle to the vineyard to get this fruitiness. And that's a very beautiful terroir for Mauzac.
Yes.
Mauzac, so that is the native varietal from Limoux that you can find almost exclusively in Limoux, a little bit in southwest France too. And that is actually a fantastic grape varietal to make very delicate sparkling wines. So that's part of our blend, part of the blend of, I think, the wine we're drinking today. We use 10 to 20% of Mauzac in this Crémant, that is the local sparkling wines from Limoux. That is always bringing a lot of identity, making the Crémant de Limoux very unique if you compare to Crémant from Burgundy or from Alsace or from other regions. Crémant is really from, Mauzac is really from Limoux.
So this particular wine we're looking at today, this is the Cuvée, how do you pronounce that? Eugénie. Is that correct?
If I say it for English speaker, that would be Eugénie. If I say it the French way, it's Eugénie.
Eugénie. Okay. And this is named after someone in the family, right?
Yeah, that's actually a very important wine for us, as Eugénie was my great aunt, and she was a strong character, a bit like my mother that you've already met. She unfortunately lost her husband and father during World War One, that has been killed at the battlefront, and she was left alone, 18 years old, no knowledge about enology, no knowledge about viticulture, and she took over alone the family winery. And actually became one of the first woman winemaker of the south of France. Yeah, to give you an idea how crazy was Eugénie, she was the first lady of the county to get a driving license, because when she wanted to go to the vineyard or to a customer, she did not want to rely on anyone. So that was a strong character. And my mother, Francoise, 25 years ago, when she joined the family winery, she said, we have to make a tribute to this amazing character. And then her first blend, her first personal cuvée has been this cuvée Eugénie 25 years ago. And now very happy to be able to tell this story a bit later in the history.
So you were mentioning earlier, this does contain some Mosaic, but you've also got Chardonnay and Chenin Blanc in here, right?
Yeah, exactly. As I was telling, Limoux is combining the Mediterranean aspect, quite good maturity, but also the freshness. And then since the 50s, a lot of winemakers in Limoux have been planting, a lot of winemakers from Burgundy and Champagne actually have been planting a lot of very beautiful Chardonnay, Chenin Blanc, and Pinot Noir that they think would be a great complement to the local one, Mosaic. And actually, for 50 years, we have understood that we have beautiful terroir, especially the more in altitude, 1,500 feet, so quite fairly high, that where Chardonnay will bring very, very delicate, elegant notes of citrus peel, a bit of white flowers that are actually doing very well. So this wine is mainly Chardonnay, 70%, 20% of Chenin Blanc, usually planted on limestone to bring the nice minerality and acidity you have at the end of the mouth. And then 10 to 20% of Mosaic to keep the Limoux identity.
Now, please explain a little bit about how you make this wine, because, you know, people think of sparkling wine, they think of a very famous region in France, but let's talk a little bit about how you make this wine, this particular one here.
So when I talk about the way we work, I really love to present it as handcrafted sparkling wine, because we really work the traditional way. So everything is made under the méthode traditionnelle, traditional method, the same used in Champagne, the same used in Franciacorta. We pick the grape by hand. We press it very gently. We do a first fermentation in the tank that will last for, depending at low temperature, to really develop very delicate aromas. Then we make blends to create and give identity to each cuvée. And once it's done, we do it a bit like the monks have done a long time ago. We put this base wine in a bottle. We add a little bit of sugar and some yeast. Then we close the bottle, and the yeast will be very happy because they eat sugar and transform it into carbonic dioxide and alcohol. And that's how we put bottle in this wine. And then the last part that is actually one of the most important, we keep the wine on lat aging quite a long time. Legally, we could sell the wines after 9 months. Our minimum is really 30 months, 2 years and a half. Yeah. And this will make the bubble very, very delicate. The aromas bring some creamy notes that actually make all the balance that you can find in this wine.
There's a wonderful combination between that delicate, very pure fruit of those three grapes without the autolytic component, the yeasty component being too much. It is definitely there, but it doesn't overwhelm that wonderful fruit on here. The boule that you have in here, the clam, is so fine. It's it makes for a very, very clean and pure sparkling wine. I think this is absolutely gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. I'm not a huge sparkling drinker on a regular basis, it has to be said, But every time I came down to Limoux, I was incredibly fond of your sparkling wines down there. And this is quite a delight. This has been reviewed quite favorably in the press, has it not?
Yeah, this is usually Limoux is a small town with not a lot of producers, so we are not really on the map of the big tasters.
Yes.
But for this particular vintage, Jancis Robinson has been reviewing all our range, and this wine has been rated 17 out of 20, which has never happened in Limoux in the history, and is very rare because she's tough on our wines. But
yes.
that has been a real proudness for us to get this recognition for this wine that is, as you said, all about balance. We want the fruitiness, we want the yeastiness, but we want everything very delicate. So actually, when you're done with the first glass, you want to order the second. And that's why we make wine and we wake up every day.
Fantastic, fantastic. Now, in your experience, you've been working with your family's company for the last 3 years or so. What do you find the perfect accompaniment to this particular cuvée?
In terms of pairing?
Yes, please, yeah.
That's what I personally really like with this wine is a bit exotic food, but ceviche, fish ceviche, because you have the fish bringing some freshness and matching well the salinity of this wine, but also the citrus that you use to cook the fish, balancing very well. And that's actually a wine that I could drink for brunch or any kind of good meal with ceviche, also going well with shellfish, anything very fresh. I think it's a very wonderful combination.
Well, it's interesting seeing this in the market because I really feel that Limoux is coming of age. And by that, I mean, although it's centuries old, it's interesting it's now getting a lot more exposure. And you were mentioning before we went into the interview that you've seen so much more success of Limoux and recognition of Limoux over the last few years that you've been with the company, right?
Yeah, I used to work in Champagne. I used to work abroad. Yes. But to me, it feels like a very exciting time to be in Limoux, to be back. There's a lot of young winemakers taking over family wineries or new winemakers standing in Limoux, seeing the potential. We see also much more open-minded sommelier, much more open-minded journalists that are extremely excited about the work we do to handcraft these beautiful wines, the work around Mosaic, the native varietal. So yeah, we in the last 2 years, we get a lot of new importers, a lot of new people extremely proud of carrying our wines. So to me, that's basically the result of the hard work of my mother the last 25 years. But I'm very happy and proud to be part of this movement of showing the world what makes Limoux such a unique place for sparkling wines.
Yes. Now, the thing that really excites me about Limoux is the fact that there are very few regions in the world where you can spend a modest amount of money. This wine here is around about $26 in our market. And spend, that's a reasonably accessible wine there. But $26 to get one of the best of coming from Limoux, right? It's absolutely fantastic. The value is second to none when it comes to sparkling wines.
This is actually what I get. I've been traveling a bit to see my customers after Corona. And the most the most feedback I got is it's too inexpensive to be true. And that's something that is true. We're very lucky in Limoux that we are small. We are not investing a lot in marketing because we tend to stay authentic.
Yes.
But you're right. We're really on the sweet spot, making everything the traditional way, working very purely, and still not having price increases that are huge. So that's also making the wine accessible for wine lovers.
Now, this is a Brut in style, this one here. I was speaking with your mother many years ago, and she said there's definitely a move in Limoux towards drier and drier styles, like a zero dosage and the like. What is the eventual residual on this one at the end of the day?
So this one is 7 grams.
7 grams. Right.
So that's really the lower side of Brut, definitely. Yes, yeah. And that's also the way we like our wines. We tend to let the fruit express more, harvest at the right time, and then not add too many sugar, just making the balance interesting. But yeah, definitely we tend to go for more if the wine is good, you don't need a lot of sugar to have it good, showing well. So that's really our approach.
Baptiste, thank you very much for joining us at Good Food Revolution today. Hopefully, we'll get a chance to see you over here in Ontario at some point, or I'll be back down in Languedoc at some point in the not too distant future.
You are welcome. That's always a good spot. So thank you very much for your time. That was a very interesting chat, and very happy to see famous journalists interested in what we do in Limoux.
Famous. I don't know about fame. Infamous, perhaps. Thank you very much, Baptiste. You take care over there. Stay safe.
Merci beaucoup.